This time on Low Boost, I have some bad news and I have some good news. I'm here at the Low Boost garage, in front of the Corvette here. We're doing a fuel pump on it. Probably will have a video on that soon at some point, but I have a couple of announcements to make, and the first one is that I sold the 996 911. To me, that's one of the best driving cars that I've ever owned. And I think it's completely underrated for what it is. It's still a 911 at the end of the day. And the car is absolutely amazing. I'm really happy it went to another really big car enthusiast who I'm gonna keep in touch with and hopefully see the car again, because I really miss that thing, but it's going to a good home. But there's a couple of reasons why I got rid of it, and I'm gonna share them with you now. As much as I love that car, I just am a little bit scared to do the stuff that I really wanna do. Obviously the 911 is good for exactly what I've talked about in many, many previous videos, but one thing it's not good as is a drift car. And I wanted to get a drift car really, really bad after going with Kamal and seeing what it was like at Lebanon last year. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to sell it. I really said to myself, boy, I would love to get a car that I could drift around and do some fun things with. And I didn't want to do it in the Corvette, more specifically because if I try to build a track car to do drifting, it's gonna do both things poorly. Instead of getting a car that is dedicated just for track use, like the Corvette, and another car that's dedicated just for drifting. And unfortunately, the 911 is not the kind of car that you want to go drifting. Also, freeing up and getting rid of a car payment is going to allow me to do some other investments, which I'm really excited about too. So it's really a win-win. It's just the only downside is that I don't have the 911 anymore. I'm going to show you guys what I got to replace it. I got a New Edge Mustang. This is a 2002, it's 2-valve, 4.6 liter single overhead cam. It's got some body damage on it, it's not great, but I also didn't want to get a car that was super, super mint because we gonna drift it. Hear me out. The Coyote was so good when it came out, it made just about every Mustang that was ever made before it completely obsolete. Just with a Coyote motor, you can do more with a stock Coyote than you could do modifying the absolute crap out of these things, and it's not even close. But the New Edge Mustangs came with 260 horsepower and like 300 pound-feet of torque from the factory, which is pretty slow by today's standards, especially considering the new Mustangs are well over 400 horsepower. But that's more than enough to have a lot of fun drifting. For me, this car was cool because it was a similar car to the one from Too Fast, Too Furious, of which from that chase scene, I now own 3 of those cars, albeit the cheapest ones at that scene, but still nonetheless. That's reason number 1. The second reason why I got a New Edge is because everybody wants all the newer Mustangs, you can get these for a hell of a deal for what they are. And the third reason that I got a New Edge Mustang is I have a Factory 5 Type 65 Shelby Daytona Coupe that I'm building. And a lot of the parts, the wheels, tires, brakes, steering racks, a lot of the stuff from this car that I'd be buying for this car that I have a lot of extra parts for actually fit this car. So a lot of these car parts are interchangeable. So for me, that makes things a heck of a lot easier if I break something on this and I have extra parts for this, or I'm building this and I already bought parts for this. They kind of go hand in hand. You're gonna see these wheels on this car at some point sliding around. That's just what it is, because I got better wheels for this that are gonna go on it. So for me, it was a no-brainer to get a New Edge Mustang. And although it's not nearly as fast as the Corvette in a straight line or any which way you wanna cut it, this thing is gonna be a great drift car. They already have a pretty good aftermarket for it, so I'm really excited to actually turn this thing into a drift car. It's at least gonna be a car that I street for a little bit. At some point, I'm gonna get a cage and we'll do all that fun stuff with this thing. But for now, I actually wanna go drifting with it just as it sits, so you could see my experience with it as I add things like angle kits, coilovers, different wheels, different tires, e-brakes, so you guys can see my progression of becoming a drifter and learning how to mod this car properly. So make sure you guys follow along and subscribe, because I'm gonna do a bunch of videos on this thing. But don't worry, I'm still gonna have a lot of videos on the Corvette, and we're making a lot of progress with our Type 65 Shelby Daytona Coupe. So make sure you guys stick around and check out all those videos. If you can't wait until next week, make sure to check out these videos that I already have ready to go.